Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 3 Yards and a Cloud of Dust NFL podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jonathan.
Hi, guys.
So, we've got some big news to go over this week. Not a whole lot, but some big stuff.
And some small stuff.
Yeah, and then we've got a few updates that we want to let you all in on about the channel. But getting started off with our news for the week.
Eagles have acquired Colonel Josiah Scott from the Jaguars for Colonel Jameson Houston and a 2023 sixth-round pick. Scott was drafted in the fourth round by the Jags in the 2020 season. Appearing in 6 games last season for Jacksonville, recording 11 tackles, only one for a loss on 76 defensive snaps.
So he hasn't played a whole lot.
No.
But, I mean, it's kind of interesting that Jacksonville's already moving on from him. I guess they feel that they can get something better for whatever it is they're giving up.
Yeah, and me personally, Josiah Scott is a little bit of a better corner to begin with.
Well, that's what the Eagles are hoping, obviously.
Well, it's like he is a couple years older, too, so he has a little bit more experience. But he is still a young player.
I mean, yeah, he's still in his early 20s, so he's got the potential to develop into something solid.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of, it's surprising to see that I guess it really isn't surprising to see that the Jacksonville Jaguars are moving on from him. You got Urban Meyer in there. He's going to go for the guys that he wants.
Yeah.
And he just feels that he's ready to move on from Scott. So next up, the Eagles have also signed former Washington football team linebacker / defensive end Ryan Kerrigan to a 1-year deal. Kerrigan is only 32 years old. He has a career of 454 tackles, 95.5 sacks, 26 forced fumbles, and 3 interceptions through his 10 years in the league so far. Kerrigan last year made the switch from linebacker to defensive end after Jack Del Rio came in and changed the defensive scheme from a 3-4 to a 4-3.
Which, that one was definitely interesting when I saw that.
I mean, the Eagles are getting a really solid player there.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about a guy who, through his first 9 years as a linebacker, was averaging 10 sacks a year.
Yeah, and now but you can also now switch him off as a defensive end now,
and that's
too.
the thing, too. Yeah, he only had 5.5 sacks last season, but you could attribute that to his change in position.
Yeah.
And him trying to learn the difference of being an outside linebacker and a defensive end. So you could easily, honestly, I see, if they try him at defensive end with Philly, then you see what his production is, and maybe if he doesn't get that production back, like if he doesn't take that step forward as an edge rusher, then maybe try to move him back to a linebacker, because he's obviously, at that point,
he's a lot better as a linebacker than he is as a defensive end.
He would seem like he would be better suited for the linebacker position, but
we'll definitely have to see what plays this out.
Yeah, he's a reliable player. He's a strong player. He's only 32 years old.
So, and it's definitely a great pickup for the Eagles because that will strengthen that defense really well.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, that's a loss on Washington's fault because he was a very solid player for them. I'm really surprised they decided to move on.
Oh, yeah. Same. Also, the Broncos have waived both tackle Jawan James and wide receiver Deshaun Hamilton. Jawan James had Achilles tail, and Deshaun Hamilton had an ACL tail. Denver really had an issue with that when they tried to trade him, because they tried to trade him before the ACL tail, but it just didn't really work out. It ended up costing them a trade.
Yeah, and well, of course they're releasing him now because they don't have to worry about paying him because of the injury. Because they're actually listing it as a non-football injury.
Yeah.
It sucks for Hamilton, and it sucks for James also, too, because they're both out of their contract for the year. Yeah. And, of course, trade talks were really close for Hamilton right before he had the season-ending injury. And once again, Hamilton he seemed like a solid wide receiver. He really hadn't had that chance to really step up and take over just yet, but he was a solid option for Denver.
Yeah.
He could have been a solid option elsewhere. Not sure exactly where he could have gone. There are multiple places he could have gone because there's multiple teams who could use a wide receiver like him.
Exactly.
And it just, of course, we talked about Juwan James last week with him suffering that Achilles tear at an off-site workout that basically cost him $15 million.
Yeah, and that really was really bad choice on his piece, but he also didn't really expect it to happen either.
Well, no, of course, nobody goes into a workout expecting to tear their Achilles.
No,
if you do, then there's
hey,
a problem,
I want to
man.
tear my Achilles today.
But yeah, so it's terrible to, the fact that both of these young men are out for the season and, they're out contracts now. Now, I'm not 100% sure on how old Juwan James is. I think he is still in his 20s, but I think he's either in his mid or late 20s. So he does have the chance to come back with another team later on, or maybe even come back with the Broncos next year. And then, of course, Deshaun Hamilton, he's still a very young guy. He's only been in the league for a couple of years. After this year, he'll easily get picked up by somebody else.
Yeah, I want to say Deshaun is either 27 or 28.
I don't even think he's that old. I think he's only been in the league for about 3 years. About 3 or 4 years, because
probably closer to 25, 26 then.
Yeah, he has about 830 some odd receiving yards with only 3 to 5 touchdowns, something like that. So he's still relatively new to the league. So I don't think he's that old. Next piece of news we have: the Giants have signed former Panthers first-round pick Kelvin Benjamin to a 1-year deal. So it seems like Benjamin impressed New York's coaching staff and locked himself a deal. Now, here's the interesting thing. We all know Kelvin Benjamin as a wide receiver.
Yes.
He had a great rookie season with the Panthers.
Yes.
After that, really just kind of middle of the road, didn't really impress for several years in a row with the Panthers and then, of course, the Bills. Hasn't played since 2018, but he's doing the Tim Tebow thing. He's coming back as a tight end.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a smart move on his piece because I think he really lost some of that big speed that he had his rookie year. So I think he's coming in thinking more as a tight end to come in as more of a strength option.
Yeah.
Because he still has hands for the ball. He just has a little bit more strength and speed at this point.
And he's always been a bigger guy.
Yes.
So he's kind of that perfect fit for that wide receiver tight end hybrid.
Yeah, he's always been more of a tight end build, but he was playing wide receiver.
Yeah. And so Giants head coach Joe Judge has said that Benjamin will work as a receiver and a flex tight end, like we were saying, and that he has no plans to pin him down to any one position at this point. Which is good because they use him versatilely. I actually think Kelvin Benjamin coming back as officially a tight end is probably going to be a lot easier for him than it will be for Tim Tebow trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm also saying this. It's like not locking him down to one position either. Now you can have the option of having him as tight end, bring in a second tight end, and use him as the second tight end, and bring a decoy in there.
Yeah, or you could have him just as your number one tight end, but have him as a receiving tight end.
Yeah.
So, and, I've had a couple people ask me, well, what's the difference between Kelvin Benjamin coming back as a tight end and Tim Tebow coming back as a tight end?
Tim Tebow played quarterback.
Well, yeah, that's very true. But there's several different reasons why. Because number one, obviously, is that Tim Tebow was a quarterback, and that Kelvin Benjamin was a wide receiver, and they're primarily working him as a receiving tight end.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that Tim Tebow is going to be 34 this year. He's going to turn 34 in the middle of the season. Whereas Kelvin Benjamin is only 30 years old. He's already turned 30 years old.
Yeah, so he still has a good 10 solid years left.
I don't know about that much, but I'd say
at least 5.
If the tight end position could work out, he's got at least 3 solid years. That could really work in his favor.
I'm going to say about 5.
I'm not giving him more than 3 right now. I want to see how he does this season first, and then maybe we reevaluate that afterwards. I just want to I do want to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because, once again, he's been out of the league since 2018, but at least that's not nearly as bad as being out of the league since 2015.
Yeah.
And not to mention,
Tim Tebow has been out for about 6 years at this point.
Not to mention Kelvin Benjamin, with his size, you imagine he's probably played tight end at some point in his football career, whether it be in high school, whether it was in college. I don't remember if he ever did in college. I think he was just a receiver in college.
I think he played tight end receiver in high school, and when he got picked up by got recorded from college, I want to say they changed him to straight receiver because of his speed.
Yeah, okay. I don't know that for sure. I can't really comment on that.
But I believe that's what it was.
You know, the difference with Tim Tebow is he's never played the tight end position, not since he started in high school. I believe he did play some running back maybe in his early days in high school, but at the very least since his junior year of high school, he's been playing nothing but quarterback, and he hasn't even played that in 6 years.
Yeah.
So I honestly think it's going to be a lot easier for Kelvin Benjamin to readjust to the league and come back as a decent receiver than it will be for this whole Tebow experiment.
Yeah.
I don't care if Tebow shares my birthday. I just don't think it's going to work out. I think he's going to end up getting cut before the regular season.
It will be definitely interesting seeing what happens.
Yeah. And then also the Giants have signed former Eagles running back Corey Clement to a 1-year deal.
Do we know anything about that 1-year deal or not?
No, just know that it's a 1-year deal. I don't think any of the details were released at this point. It's just, basically he impressed during a tryout enough to get the 1-year deal. So we don't even know if he'll be there on the opening day roster.
Okay, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And for the next one, the quarterback situation continued to evolve in New England as the Patriots have now signed Brian Hoyer to a 1-year, $1.05 million deal. And that one definitely is interesting.
Yeah, and basically the way I see it is Brian Hoyer is their in case of quarterback.
Yeah.
So in case of emergency, break glass. So if everything just completely goes wrong with Cam Newton and Mac Jones, throw Brian Hoyer in there. At least we know we can win a couple of games with this guy.
Yeah. This one would be definitely interesting to see how this season plays out, because this was QB number 4 for them now, or 3?
They have at least 4 QBs on their roster right now, with Mac Jones being the presumptive starter.
Yeah.
Cam Newton being the number 2, and then of course you still have Jared Stidham on the roster.
Yeah, so they have a total of 4 quarterbacks.
At least.
They're doing a Buccaneers job.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Buccaneers have a better quarterback.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Of course, we don't know how Mac Jones is going to be.
No, we haven't
we've
really
yet to see that one yet. He could be the second coming of Tom Brady in New England.
Yeah,
Who
which
knows?
Could be actually really interesting seeing Mac Jones versus Tom Brady, young Tom Brady versus old Tom Brady. That would be funny.
Yeah, and last but not least on the news part, the Aaron Rodgers situation in Green Bay. Oh man, it's still terrible. And it just, at this point, everybody is still saying the same thing. Aaron doesn't want to play for Green Bay anymore. He's unhappy with what's going on. He wants to be traded, or he's going to sit out the season. And the Packers are still saying they are just absolutely unwilling to trade him.
So now it comes down to either will he just suck it up and play, or will he pout and just sit out?
Here's the thing. If he wants to have a career beyond this year, he has to play.
Yeah.
He has to suck it up and he has to play.
And he has to prove that, yes, I can do this more than 1 year in a row.
Because chances are he's not going to get the extension that he wants. He's not going to get traded. And that if he decides to sit out, then, Jordan Love, either one of two things is going to happen. Either Jordan Love is going to absolutely suck, and the Packers are going to go out and they're going to find their quarterback next year in the draft, or
trade for one.
or Jordan Love is going to be really, really good, and they're going to realize they don't need Aaron Rodgers anymore. They can just let him sit, and his only option will be to retire.
Yep.
Because, like I said, if I'm the Packers, we went over this in the episode that we went at Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and because Aaron Rodgers still has 2 years, correct?
So, yeah, he still has 2 years. Actually, I believe this is the last year of his contract.
Okay.
So as of last year, he had 2 years left, but I believe this is the last year of his current contract.
Okay.
Which is why he's trying to get that extension, and I understand that. I understand why he's trying to do that, because he wants to have financial security. The problem is he's going about it completely the wrong way. But if I'm the Green Bay Packers, there's no way in hell I am trading Aaron Rodgers to a team that potentially you'd have to face.
No. I definitely agree with you.
Because even through all of the crap that he is giving, he's still a talented quarterback.
Yeah.
As I stated in that episode, he is most likely a first ballot Hall of Famer when it happens, even though he's only won one Super Bowl. He's only won one NFC Championship game.
Yeah. So it should be definitely interesting to see how the rest of this actually fully plays out.
Yeah. So it's just... Honestly, I'm really just kind of ready for this to be done.
I'm hoping he just sits out this season and just let.
Yeah, I'm interested to find out how good Jordan Love is really going to be.
Because if he ends up being if he can at least get 6 games for wins, that's good, because this would be the first year that he's a starter.
Yeah, if it goes that way, yeah.
So if he can at least get 6 wins out of the 17 games, that's a good step for him.
Yeah, that would be.
And that means that they don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers, but there's a good chance he's going to quickly progress and constantly get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I totally agree with that assessment.
So, yes, he might get 6 games this season.
He could jump that to 8 or 9 the next season.
Yeah, and he could easily jump that to maybe 11.
Yeah.
And there's your playoff berth.
Yeah, that's just about it.
So it's like 3 seasons, it's like he could put you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it would definitely be interesting seeing how all this plays out.
Yeah, and of course we're going to keep an eye on this whole situation. Now, one interesting fact, though, is apparently there was a proposed trade that the Broncos offered Aaron Rodgers, or offered Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And it was, so the details of that trade, though, have come out.
Oh.
Yeah. So from what I understand is the Broncos were trying to get Aaron Rodgers and a 2023 4th-round pick. And then the Broncos were willing to trade quarterback Drew Lock, defensive end Bradley Chubb,
which is actually a good pickup.
There's also a guard included. I don't remember the name though, but 3 first-round picks, 2022, 2023, 2024, and a 2022 4th-round pick.
That's a lot of picks. So basically, their 4th-round pick would just be pretty much switched.
Yeah.
And then they would also have 3 extra 1st-round picks for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad that Green Bay said no to this for 3 reasons. Number 1 is they shouldn't give in to Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't deserve it.
Nope.
Number 2 is I don't want Aaron Rodgers playing against my Raiders twice a year. I don't want Aaron Rodgers playing. And number 3, why in the hell would you want Drew Lock?
Same.
He's already proved he can't handle it in Denver. And he's had good weapons. He's had a decent defense behind him.
He's not a good quarterback.
If anything, honestly, if I'm legitimately trying to get Aaron Rodgers, instead of Drew Lock, I'm offering Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, if you get Aaron Rodgers, you don't need Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I'm trading Bridgewater for Aaron Rodgers any day.
Yeah. Plus, if I'm Green Bay and I'm getting Teddy Bridgewater, I'm at least asking for him instead of Drew Lock. And, at that point, you've got an option if Jordan Love doesn't work out that season.
Yeah.
You know, you get Teddy Bridgewater, you make Jordan Love your starting quarterback, you see how he can do, and like I said, if he doesn't work out, you've got Teddy.
Yeah. So basically, let him play 3-4 games. If he doesn't work out, put Bridgewater in there instead.
So Broncos, if you're somehow listening to this podcast, offer Teddy Bridgewater. You might actually get something.
Yeah, because
probably not.
Bridgewater.
Hopefully not. I still don't want Aaron Rodgers playing against my Raiders twice a year.
Bridgewater has already shown that he is capable of starting.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
If you give him the weapons, just as any other quarterback, as long as any quarterback that has talent, which Drew Lock apparently does not. Because he's had good weapons on that team, and he just couldn't get the job done.
Well, you've seen Drew Brees. He's a really good quarterback, and he had.
But you saw Teddy come in for Drew Brees last year, not last year, but the year before, and he performed exceptionally well with the same weapons that Drew Brees had.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were solid weapons. Because Sean Payton knows how to build an offense.
Yes.
Okay. Denver has had a fairly good receiving core for the last several years. Yeah, they've started to empty it out because they're rebuilding, but they still have had, for the last couple of years, decent wide receivers. And, you know, you've seen flashes from them, even from terrible quarterbacks like Drew Lock and Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
So you've seen what these good receivers can do. Imagine what they can do with a good quarterback.
They would do exceptionally well.
Yeah. You might be able to go get John Elway that fourth Super Bowl. I think John Elway won 2 when he was there.
Yeah, it's like, hey, John, do you want to come out of retirement? Let's go.
Oh, no. We don't need to see John Elway on the field again. The last thing we need is some geriatric old man having a hernia on the field.
I'm sorry.
I would ask Peyton Manning to come out of retirement before I ask John Elway.
No, Eli. Hey, Eli. Let's see if you're better than your brother. Let's win one more.
That'd be hilarious. See Eli come out of retirement, go to the Broncos, and win a friggin' Super Bowl. Oh, man.
Hey, that would put him one up on his brother.
Yeah, Peyton would have to come out of retirement then. But then he's got to go to like a worse team and then win a Super Bowl with that team. So I guess the Dolphins.
Yeah. Okay.
But okay, so.
But I think
like
that's
I said,
pretty much it.
Yeah, and we'll keep our ears to the ground on the evolving situation going on in Green Bay, though we don't really see anything really changing before the season starts.
No.
It's either Aaron Rodgers is going to play or he's not.
Yeah, but he's not.
He's going to play for Green Bay or he's not going to play at all. That's the whole thing.
Yep.
But that's it for the news and updates for the week. Those are the big stories. However, we do have some channel updates coming for you right now. So first off, I know a couple weeks ago when we started doing these smaller episodes, we said that we'd be doing the smaller episodes and then you'd be getting the long format episode on the weekend. We're not going to do that. We're just going to keep the smaller episodes. We like them better.
Yeah.
They're a little more contained and they're easier for you guys to process. Number 2 is, unfortunately, this week there won't be a discussion episode this week because we're working on other things on the side and we've got a lot of things kind of going on. So this is going to be the only episode this week. But some good news is we are now on Rumble as of this episode. So you could very well be watching this episode on Rumble. I'm working hard on getting us on Spotify. I just got to get us an RSS feed. I'm not exactly sure how to do that, but this episode should be up on Spotify here within the next couple of days if you're not already listening to this episode on Spotify. If you are, for those of you who are listening on Rumble and Spotify, we say welcome. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the support. And then
bring your friends on.
And we're really excited, too, because we've got some important stuff coming up. So I know we have mentioned a few times over the last couple of weeks that we plan on doing a divisional breakdown where we're going to be going through every team, all 32 NFL teams, and breaking down how well they did last year, what they needed to improve on, did they improve on that in the draft and in free agency, and where we think they're going to be this year. So that is going to be coming up very soon. We are working on the research for that and making sure we get all of our notes together, and so that way we bring you solid episodes on those. We give you all the information you want to hear about your favorite team.
Yeah.
And another big announcement for us. We have begun researching and writing for our very first scripted show on this channel. And that is, right now it's a working title, but we're calling it The History Of. And it will be covering everything from the history of the NFL league itself to the various franchises that have existed throughout the years. And then, of course, legendary players like Bart Starr, Joe Namath, Brett Favre. Basically, any legendary player you can think of. I know I just listed all quarterbacks, but there are plenty out there.
Yeah.
You got Lawrence Taylor. So we'll be covering all of those.
We'll be covering quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive players, everybody. Everyone who is really good that ended up making a difference for a team we'll be talking about.
Yeah, and of course we won't just be limiting it to players. We'll be covering owners, coaches, Al Davis, Bill Belichick, and various others. Now, the way we're going to be doing those episodes, just so you know, is we're going to, at the very least, be breaking them up into 2 parts. Sometimes they could be 4 parts, depending on how much content there is for that specific topic. But don't worry, they're not going to be super long. We're going to try our best to keep them to 20 to 30 minutes. So we don't want to sit there and overwhelm you with just 3-hour episodes every week. Because we know a lot of people don't have time for all that. Now, however, though, there is a caveat to this one. These episodes will only be available for those of you watching on Rumble and YouTube. They won't be on Spotify. We won't be putting them up on Apple iTunes or anything like that once we get going on the various other podcasting websites. These will be limited only to our Rumble and YouTube accounts. So if you want to watch them, you're going to have to subscribe to one of those.
And for everyone who has already subscribed, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
We do appreciate your support.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely want to thank everyone who has supported us so far, who has continued this journey with us. We want to welcome in any new listeners from our Rumble, Spotify, even YouTube that we've been on for the last couple of months. We want to thank you for coming with us. We hope that you continue to go with us as we grow and expand. And just thank you overall. We appreciate everything you guys have done for us. Also, too, regarding the history of episodes, if you have a player, coach, or influential person of the NFL who you want to hear an episode on, please suggest that to us. You be able to find our Twitter page. I'll have the link in the description. It's also up in the video. You'll be able to see it coming up in the video, but like I said, I'll have it up in the description. You can send us a message on Twitter. You can leave us a comment down in the video who you want to see. So we're open to those ideas, and we're really excited for these new movements that we're going with. But I think that's just about it.
Yep.
So once again, thank you all for joining us. We want to thank Kyle for sitting in with us, being our producer for the day. So everybody give him a big round of applause. And we hope he can join us in the future.
Give a like for Kyle.
Yeah, give us a like for Kyle. Every like on this video is a like for Kyle. And then, until the next one, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.